So over the last week, Trump has been throwing every distraction he can at us. And I want to go through some of them to show you how desperate he's getting. Let's start with his go-to distraction. Obama!
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. Irrefutable proof that Obama was sedacious.
No, booze aside. Sedation?
As you know, this young man has been embroiled in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking scandal and did what anybody who is innocent, when facing an accusation of this type, did what anybody who is innocent would do. He fled the country. He fled the country, taking a jaunt to Bonnie.
When Josh Johnson's sharp wit collides with Jon Stewart's legendary satire, Trump doesn't stand a chance. They tear apart his presidency like a broken IKEA cabinet, confusing, unstable, and missing key pieces. From chaotic policies to ego-driven meltdowns, this duo roasts Trump's second term with no mercy and no filter. Brutal punchlines, truth bombs, and nonstop mockery. Trump just got politically body slammed.
About tonight, Donald Trump is losing his mind and his hands. He's inventing new ways to do makeup wrong, and he has a dream that one day he will not be judged by the content of... But while we wait to see if Ghislaine survives this interview, Trump has been doing everything that he can to keep those files under wraps. He's even got his friends in Congress trying to help. Mike Johnson shut down the House just to avoid a vote on the release of the files. Yeah. Do you understand that they clear Congress out for the summer like they found a dookie in the pool?
Trump walked into the Oval Office like a timeshare salesman and somehow got America to sign again. The only man who can go bankrupt, get indicted, and still throw himself a parade is back in charge. For Josh Johnson and Jon Stewart, roasting him isn't comedy anymore, it's community service. Like mocking a cartoon running a nuclear plant reactor overheating, and he's blaming the thermostat.
You spent 2 months riling up your base that our country had literally been stolen from them through fraudulent means, that you could never even get a whiff of in a court of law, and let yourself just abuse them. You pressed on, you abused their trust. You showed up for a speech, you tweeted, "Join me on January 6th. It will be wild." But suddenly now, I was just a hired magician, did a bar mitzvah. You spent 2 months riling up your base that our country had literally been stolen from them through fraudulent means, that you could never even get a whiff of in a court of law, and let yourself just abuse them. You pressed on, you abused their trust. You showed up for a speech, you tweeted, "Join me on January 6th. It will be wild." But suddenly now, I was just a hired magician, did a bar mitzvah. I didn't do anything. I showed up with a hat and a rabbit, and then the whole party went out of control.
Josh Johnson says Trump treats facts like optional toppings, briefings read like IKEA manuals, confused, annoyed, and then he just wings it. Intelligence reports? Too many words. Science? Must be a hoax. His policies feel like darts thrown at a map, while blindfolded and high on compliments. Honestly, it's a miracle the country isn't called Trumplandia with textbooks swapped for coloring books of him in a cape.
To pull out of the World Health Organization. Then Trump was like, "Who?" And they were like, "Yes." And he was like, "Yes, what?" And they were like, "Who?" And he's like, Who? And they were like, "That's what we're saying. Who's who?" And then he was like, I'll do what you want me to do, but I just need to know who it is. And it's like, who is?
Jon Stewart hits Trump's media obsession. The man can't breathe without a camera. Every speech is an open mic night, more lies, worse lighting. Put a mirror on the teleprompter, and he'd call it the biggest crowd ever. The media isn't the enemy, his grammar is. Listening to him is like decoding a fever dream with subtitles written by someone who
I
failed.
understand the corporate fear. I understand the fear that you and your advertisers have with $8 billion at stake. But understand this, truly. The shows that you now seek to cancel, censor, and control, a not insignificant portion of that $8 billion value came from those shows. That's what made you that money.
Josh Johnson breaks down Trump's COVID legacy. Less leadership, more viral chaos. He fought masks harder than the virus, while hospitals begged for ventilators, and he hoarded Sharpies. His cures sounded like rejected sci-fi horror plots. It's one thing to misunderstand science. It's another to declare war on soap. Trump turned a health crisis into an improv act with no punchlines and plenty of casualties.
Deal with people anymore. People got so mad during the pandemic about the vaccine that they switched it. They got it wrong. The vaccine is Trump's. It was distributed while he was still president. He was the one that had the idea of like streamlining it and trying to make them outbid each other to get a contract. That was all him. But everyone who takes the vaccine hates him too much to give him credit. And then his fans don't want it.
Jon Stewart tears into Trump's economy. He brags about it like a kid showing off a macaroni necklace. Sure, billionaires with yacht helipads cashed in, but the middle class got a flimsy tax cut and a mountain of debt. And when it collapsed, he blamed anyone nearby, just not someone white, rich, or golfing. Josh dives into foreign policy. Awkward handshakes, love letters to dictators, and enough damage to keep diplomats in therapy for decades. Alliances were Tinder matches. Swipe left on NATO, swipe right on North Korea. He rolled back regulations like a crooked banker, treated national parks like real estate, and downgraded climate change to liberal weather.
Don't panic, okay? You've got a president who understands business.
I am grateful for a commander-in-chief that has the business acumen.
Luckily, we have a businessman in the White House right now.
The president did write the book, The Art of the Deal.
Look, Trump is a master negotiator, and he does know the art of the deal.
We're supposed to trust this guy because he wrote The Art of the Deal? That's it. You ever say, I got the book, Art of the Deal? Yeah, that's why we're supposed to trust him. You ever look at Chapter 9 in Art of the Deal? It's about how smart Trump is about his casino in Atlantic City. Oh, yeah, Chapter 9. I built a casino in Atlantic City. I'm a business.
Trump could watch a glacier melt and still blame immigrants with hair dryers. His version of eco-consciousness? Campaign flyers thicker than his grasp of sustainability. Josh rips into Trump's relationship with the truth about as stable as Twitter during his rants. He lies so much fact-checkers unionized for hazard pay. He'll contradict himself in the same sentence and still call it strategy. Education? Under Trump, funding was gutted, schools ignored, and student debt mocked. Hard to take it seriously when your vocabulary's just nicknames and slogans. At this rate, America's reading level could slide back to cave paintings with bad spray tans.
Because of all this, Trump has lost total control of the situation. Even his allies in Congress are turning on him.
In an effort to gain clarity, 3 Republicans joined Democrats on the House Oversight Committee to subpoena the Justice Department to give Congress all of the Epstein files.
This fight's coming no matter, this is here, I'm ready to take this vote. I think we should take this vote and move forward, move this country forward, and people deserve transparency.
Nancy Mace, damn. Trump is even losing the...
Josh roasts Trump's digital life. The man tweeted like a teenager on a sugar rush. His feed looked like a ransom note in all caps. No punctuation, no coherence, just vendettas. If Shakespeare wrote in typos, he'd still sound more presidential. Trump's online presence was basically a fireworks factory powered by ego, fast food, and self-pity. John jumps to Trump's legal adventures. More court dates than a soap opera has episodes. Lawsuits chased him like unpaid interns, and every subpoena felt like a party invite he couldn't resist. Josh raps with Trump's rally circuit, less politics, more cult talent show. Logic dies, hats multiply, and the crowd claps on cue to keep the spell alive. He rehashes grudges, makes promises no one tracks, and leaves behind nothing but traffic trash and serious questions about human decency.
Trump took office and he immediately signed a wild amount of executive orders. They've been one-upping each other every presidency for a little while. Like, I'm pretty sure Barack Obama signed more than Bush, and then Trump signed more than Obama, and then Biden signed more than Trump. But this was like astronomical. This was a whole lot, because basically Trump went ahead and signed executive orders that rolled back a lot of what Biden did, plus his own. Right? And he did some sweeping stuff. Like, he signed an executive order that began the steps for the U.S. to leave the World Health Organization. I did not do it.
John targets Trump's racism, or rather, his refusal to see it. To him, diversity meant letting Kanye into meetings and butchering Spanish names with pride. Every race issue became a megaphone for his ignorance, answered with tone-deaf stunts that belonged at a funeral. He weaponized identity like it was part of a re-election toolkit. Josh then hits Trump's ego, the largest undocumented object in America. It needs its own zip code and probably writes memos itself. Trump isn't leading. He's auditioning nonstop for a role he already has, but still doesn't understand. Finally, John swings at Trump's family business empire, where nepotism isn't an exception, it's the company motto. He ran the presidency like a corporate retreat, and only his relatives got badges.
Thing Trump has wanted, from Qatari jet bribes to Epstein file secrecy to extorted media conglomerate protection money. I can't believe ABC paid that. That was so f***ed up.
Jared handled Middle East peace like a school project. Ivanka floated around like a centerpiece. Don Jr. just tweeting from the shadow of Dad's ego. This wasn't an administration, it was a vanity brand with nuclear codes. Josh raps with Trump's Patriotism Act. He wears the flag like a cape, then uses it to wipe off criticism. His love for America runs on applause meters and merch sales. Nationalism, sold like bottled water, flavorless, overpriced, and full of empty promises. Real service? That's for someone else. Trump's idea of sacrifice is skipping dessert at a fundraiser. Press briefings? Always terrible scripts. At this point, the only shock would be Trump admitting fault or spelling constitutional correctly.
Like, what did the man look like? And they over here taking notes and stuff, and he's like, he doesn't know what to say next because he didn't think this far. And that's how I feel like Trump must feel about Epstein, because it goes so deep. It's like he didn't think this far in the lies.
As the smoke clears, Trump gears up for another press conference. The mics are ready, staff look nervous, and the teleprompter already hates its job. Josh Johnson and Jon Stewart haven't just roasted him. They've exposed the tragic sitcom of a nation run by a man who won't stop performing, even while the stage burns. And with Trump still in charge, the next episode writes itself, one typo, tantrum, and indictment at a time. After every roast and every headline, he still manages to brand failure with his name, filling buildings with coloring books, conspiracy pamphlets, and golden busts of himself. At that point, even Jon Stewart can't keep a straight face.
But every time a new "Trump's never getting that" comes up, the media is blown away when he actually does get it, without ever acknowledging that the no votes from Republicans are scripted to allow certain senators plausible deniability without putting any part of that agenda actually.
Trump doesn't want an informed public. He wants an audience. Education bores him unless it ends with applause and $50 commemorative coins. Libraries? Too quiet, too free, and too full of books that spell correctly. Josh hits the latest cabinet reshuffle, another episode of You're Fired, starring a president who thinks loyalty is a resume. At this point, the White House needs a revolving door. Jobs are handed out like party favors, and when chaos erupts, Trump shows up with popcorn and a golf visor. John wraps it up. Trump doesn't lead, he distracts. Every scandal buried under a louder one. Still tweeting like a caffeinated raccoon. Still dodging reality like a toddler in a spelling bee. This isn't governance, it's performance art powered by delusion and cheeseburgers. Trump may think he's untouchable, but the punchlines never stop. Josh Johnson and Jon Stewart haven't just exposed the madness. They lit it on fire and handed out marshmallows. And with another press conference looming, this roast isn't over. It's just heating up.